It's part 5 of our conversation with drummer Pick Withers, formerly of Dire Straits. I'm John Beaudin from Rocky Street Music. Sultans of Swing, why did you guys have to re-record that song?
We got hauled into the managing director's office in London. It's funny, very funny, really, because Ken Maliphant, the guy's name was. And it was in the days when managing directors weren't accountants; they were music fans as well. Hey, boys, he said, I think it's I love the album. You know, it's from Scotland. I think it's great. It's great. It's just that I think you should really recut Sultans and make it harder. You know, and then we could, on the back of that, we can sell lots of albums. And it goes back to that thing we were talking about. They were having problems shifting the album in England because they wouldn't play it on the radio. So here's the funny thing: because Ken liked to tipple, he played a different song, and the A&R guy said that's not Sultans of Swing. Just testing, boys, just testing. But he thought that he just thought that we had to, you know, he wanted this single to go on the radio, and they weren't playing it because, you know. But it's part and parcel. A whole different element of the problem was that, as I said before, it was too wordy, it was too long for the radio format or the climate of the radio format in England at that time. So that was why he tried that, and I don't think it worked really. But you know, because we were given a mission to make it a different cut of the same song. You know, we weren't trying to play the same song better. We were trying to make it harder, maybe faster, more rock. I don't know what it was. Here's the shoes again. You know, he didn't like the shoes, but he couldn't tell you what shoes he wanted. I want to be part of the conversation. I just don't want to be a functioning drummer that provides something for guitar players. And I do encounter guitar players that don't like me, don't like the way I play. It's too conversational, I would say.
Really?
But, I think so. I wouldn't say it happens all the time, but it happens occasionally. You think, oh, this guy's not going to like me. They want the space to themselves. Yeah. And a lot of them, they don't have good time, you know, sometimes. They just kind of wander. Where you get someone like Matheny or Pistorius, their time is just perfect. You know, so anything they play is meant, and it's performed with consummate ease, and that muscle memory thing kicks in. So they're always above it and not so much in control, but aware of where they are. You know, it's a bit like driving a car. You know, when you first drive, you immediate concern is what's in front of you, but actually, really, you've already done that in your brain. You should be looking 100 yards, 100 meters ahead, and that's the way music should be, where you've always got this spare capacity, and it's trying to find the how you can get to that. When we made the first album, we made demos. This little studio I worked in, and cheap studio called Pathway in Islington, which is in North London. Small, like a small house, really. The rooms weren't enormous, but it did the job. And we had this cassette tape, and we played it to basically, they were really John, David, Mark's associates in Deptford, where they lived. And we played it on a system where, like a little tape machine, the best it could sound, given what it was. And these friends were kind of mildly impressed. Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah, I quite like that. Yeah, it's okay. That is. Yeah, it's okay. And then about 10 days later, we went and John took the tape to this guy called Charlie Gillette, who was a rock and roll chronicler stroke DJ, and he took it to him to get an opinion. And Charlie's very cute. He said, "Well, I'll listen to it, but I won't listen to it in your company." And that's a good thing, because you don't have to then sit there and comment on it while the artist is there in front of you. I just think it's always so false, that. So that was cute. And then apparently he played it on his show, and these same people that were very kind of ambivalent about the tape, they listened to the same tape on a transistor radio, and they came at us like all going, We heard you on the radio. It was fantastic. It's fantastic. It's incredible. You were on the radio this morning. Didn't you hear it? Oh my God. It's Johnny. And I think, well, why does that change everything for you?
Technically, Roger was more of a finesse drummer.
Yeah.
Roger Pope. But Nigel was the less is more drummer, which was more fitting for Elton John's music. And I'd have this argument with people, and they go, yeah, but Roger was such a better drummer. I said, what's better really mean? Like Elton John, like you prefaced it a few times of going, what was needed for that song, for the music, for the artist? Even though I prefer the crazy drummers, I like listening to them by myself. Nigel Olsen to me was he did what needed to be done. What's your thought on like the busyness of drummers? And
I find that when you're in a studio, there's a kind of dislocation between what you feel is good as you're playing it. Then when you come in and listen to it, what the recording tells you, In a recording, I'm always looking for space, not to fill it, but to fulfill the requirement of the drums, but to leave space for other stuff, because basically I'm always playing on what's called a backing track.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're putting strings on it or stuff, or other stuff's going. I treat the two differently, And that sometimes is where the problems can occur, because I don't really want to play faithfully whatever I've recorded 20 years ago, as on a live performance. I won't feel like that. It's not that I can't play it. It's not that. It's just that it doesn't come at you like that anymore. The sound is different. It's a different acoustic. You haven't got headphones on. You haven't got reverb on the drum where they're giving you reverb, so there's a decay. Like, that takes up space to me. It's almost like a movement. I don't think enough is discussed about how stylish drummers can be. It's like dance to me. It's all about filling. I did a lot of work with metronome for a while to instill a better kind of not sense of time, but to know what it's like to play with good time. And the trick was, without there being any forums where you could ask other people, I came to this thing where if you can't hear the metronome, you're in time. If you hear it, you're out of time. That is kind of a strange kind of dichotomy in a way, but it actually is true. And then there are some people who take it to another extreme where they play with the time and they can come behind the beat and in front of the beat. But I'd rather not do that with metronome. I'd rather metronome. And what it is, if you play at slow tempos, really slow tempos to instill time, you cannot. I defy people just to when it's I defy people just to barely lift the stick and play that same moment. You need movement. You need to fill the time. Like the old metronomes used to go like this. Digital ones now, it's just a random. It's just a click. It's not random. It's precise, but it doesn't give you any indication of how to fill the time. And when I teach kids now, I try to get them to fill the space with movement, so they appreciate more what time is. It's not an isolated point in time. It's part of a process. It's like a bouncing ball. The ball comes up and down, and it doesn't come there quickly and then go down. It's an even movement, and I don't think enough is kind of discussed about that.
We'll have more from the great Pick Withers coming up in the next 2 days. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music.